Hello everybody, welcome back for another video, and in today's video we'll be taking a look at Fans Toys Hoodlum. One of the more, I guess you can say, anticipated figures to come out. It's been about 4 years now since they announced it, and they kind of hit some road bumps, but hey, they're finally here, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at the packaging. So right here we see FT-17 Hoodlum here in the front with Hoodlum on the top. On the side, we see the car on top with FT-17, Hoodlum, very shiny all the way around this box. We do see Hoodlum in his robot mode, as well as his car and his Targetmaster here on the back. A little bit of a bio, I guess more than a little bit. It's probably about a page of information there, but that really is about it for the packaging. And here we have Hoodlum, Fans Toys take on Hot Rod. But before we get into the figure, let's take a look at what came in the package with him. First, we see the kind of nice sized booklet of instructions here. I just kind of like to keep it in the package because it's just going to go right back in the box for me. We have the collector's card, which is pretty nice, glossy, thick piece of cardboard here, as well as the tech specs and that very large bio on the back of the box that is extremely small and hard to read. You can pause there if you like. He also includes a spare face, which is more of a mature look, as you can tell, more of a Rodimus Prime look. And you can put this on there if you want, but it really doesn't match the size of the figure, so it's really up to you. Lastly, of course, he does feature his Targetmaster. Targetmaster name does kind of slip my mind at the moment, but he does have pretty decent articulation, some good ankle tilt there, knee bend there. He is a little rough with some of the joints, and they kind of don't have some clearance here like at the waist, but they can kind of move outwards a little bit, both sides. Arms, full rotation all the way around. They do kind of come undone here at the shoulder on occasion. That's just something you got to deal with, as well as some head rotation side to side. Bear with my fingers. I did kind of get scratched up a little bit over the last couple of days moving a washer, so bear with me on that. But transformation here, let's go ahead and maneuver this all the way around, like so. Take these hands are going to move up on this joint, all the way up, and rotate the fingers, or the front of the hands around. Underneath the barrel, both sides do the same thing. Bring this up, bring this all the way up, and this folded in. Down here at the bottom, this is the hardest part by far. At least for mine, there is a lot of paint in there, so it takes a lot of effort to move that around. It is very, very tight, and I don't know if everybody's is like that, but maybe more movement and transforming it more maybe will actually loosen that up, but it is something to be aware of. You're going to click it together right there at the back of the feet, rotate this up, and get it as even as you can with the back of the gun. Bring the handle down, and there you have the Targetmaster in gun mode, which, you know, is pretty nice. It's what I would expect from a Fans Toys Targetmaster. On to Hoodlum himself. Now, this figure overall, he is very, very nice. I do really enjoy him. The transformation is actually not terrible. It could have been a lot worse, if anybody knows how Fans Toys really is. The overall build quality is fantastic. This guy has a whole lot of heft to him, especially compared to Takara's version. And so far, I haven't noticed a bunch of chipping or anything in the chrome. I do have a little bit of chip here on the front of the figure, which some of the paint, I don't know what it is about this figure, but the paint there, down here, there's something too that could cause issues when you do the transformation. I'll show you that part in a little bit. But anyways, onto the figure here, we do have very nice paint here on the front of the vehicle, as well as some of the sides. It's more of a maroon plastic throughout as well. Die cast is pretty much here on the front of the figure, as well as the back. Some of the bottom pieces here, the feet are die cast, but we'll get all that in a little bit. But still, overall, really nice. We have a really nice spoiler here that really shows exactly how you would hope the spoiler would look on Hot Rod. He is a bit wider than the Takara version. I'm not going to show the Takara version in vehicle mode, at least, because I noticed I've only transformed it one time, and the chrome issues I didn't realize I had. And then when I looked at him today, because he's been sitting on the shelf for a few years, he was just kind of crumbling with some of the chrome already, and I don't even know how, besides maybe just sitting there and it just flaking off, maybe like some of the old Beast Wars figures. But again, I'm not going to transform him today. You'll see him in robot mode in a little while, but just FYI. In this mode, he also has some rubber tires with some silver here on the rims, which is pretty nice. He rolls very nicely as well, back and forth. Lastly, I want to show that this cab windshield opens up as well, and you can fit something in there maybe. I don't think that the figures that come with some of the Takara figures will actually fit in there, but it is kind of neat to see the whole layout of the vehicle, at least the seats of the vehicle, no steering wheel or anything, but still a very nice touch that they didn't have to put in there. Size comparison, I figure I'll bring in the big boy and just show that real quick. Sorry for the noise, but here he is next to MP Ultra Magnus, and we'll get him to the back, and you can see that these two look pretty nice together. I think the size comparison between the two really works out pretty well, especially when you get them right next to each other. The question, and I saved it for the camera, is does he fit in the back of Ultra Magnus? Being that he's a bigger version of Hot Rod, let's go ahead and find out. So lower this piece down here, and he is too wide. Just that much too wide, as you can tell right there. That's a little disappointing, but it's just the type of figure it is, so I guess you just got to deal with it. Now to get Hoodlum into robot mode. So like I said, the transformation isn't as bad as you would expect with the Fans Toys, but it does still take a little bit to get used to. So first thing we're going to do is come to the back here, and let's just get these loosened up away from the back of the feet. Get the arms loose from the side of the vehicle, which kind of loosens up the whole front as well. Once you get this loose enough, this should fold up and hopefully get enough of it out of the way. The head is in there underneath the front of the vehicle, but it looks like we'll have to come back to that in a moment. This piece will then swivel all the way around, come to the top. These pieces you can go ahead and get out as well. These little orange pieces, which, let's get a tool here and get this out of there. Bring that up, and same here. Bring that up as well. Fold this piece down, and we'll worry about that later on. Onto the front of the vehicle here. Get this a little loose from the front to kind of rotate it out of the way on both sides. Bit of a squeak if you can't tell. Down here for the legs, we'll move on. Disconnect these. This one is kind of loose. It normally stays together, but this one is just a little looser than the other side. So you're going to pull this down, click that in, do the same thing with this side. This side's a little tighter. Bring it down and click it in to the back here. Lift up this panel, which will then reveal that the feet can move down. Bring this out. Oh yeah, rotate that around, and then you're going to bring the wheel in as well as this panel. This little peg right here will peg in nicely by the wheel to make this even. Click it in, and this little peg right here as well will push all the way in. Down here for the feet, if we can get the heel out, bring that up and in, and we have one leg complete. Second leg, go to the back once again, bring this up, bring the foot out, rotate that around, unpeg the wheel, bring it up, bring this piece down, and click it in. You can see my QC number right there. Bring the bottom heel out of the foot, rotate this back, and peg, click it in. Back of the legs, this one already kind of moved up, but you can move the seats of the vehicle inside. This piece you're going to rotate up and sit it flush right there to the back of the crotch area. This piece will then come down, kind of get out of the way, and you can let it hang for the moment. Arms, very loud. Sorry for the noise. We'll get these a little bit out of the way for the time being, while we can then bring the head up and out of the chest. So we'll work on the arms. Here, unpeg the chrome piping from the side. You're going to fold this piece in and around and bring it back. Bring the hands out and up. You're going to bring the fingers out a little bit so it lines up enough where you can bring this around. This whole section here is going to kind of rotate on a hinge to the back. I just moved another piece. I'll show you that in a minute. This will rotate to the back like so. Kind of keep it even as it moves back, and it will close up nicely. This piece is normally forward in that part, and you're going to push it back. Close the hand up, and you have one arm complete. This side, same story. We'll bring the hand, straighten out the fingers, bring that forward, loosen up the chrome. And the clearance is a bit of a problem here because there's that peg there. You're going to kind of get it slipped by there. Hopefully it doesn't mess with the chrome over time, but it very well might. Bring this down. This, as you can tell, this piece, will move it up now. Bring it on this hinge all the way back, lined it up, and click it in. To the top of the figure, it looks like a hot mangled mess right now, but we're getting there. This, I find it easier to bring the arms up and at an angle for this next part. Because this next part, you have to take this whole section here and you have to rotate it around. What we'll do, as long as it's separated, we'll bring it around, and the clearance again is a bit of an issue, but if you have it at the right angle and the arms at a good angle, you can get it past it. So actually, you know what, before we do that, let's rotate these pieces in here, these side pieces. Go here, rotate this in as well, get that in, then try this again. Bring the arms down, there we go. This should clear it up so we can rotate it around. Again, there's that metal bar there. You gotta kind of sneak it by there, bring it around, and there we go. We have it a little bit straighter now. This top piece here, you are going to line. There's a little section there. You're gonna line this up with it there and do the same thing with the other side. Line that up, which should be where you're gonna want your arms to go if it stays together. Back here for the backpack, bring this up and over the windshield. Take your arms and maneuver these things around to get them lined up the best you can. This piece, be very careful with. This piece, when you transform it, always make sure it is flush to the chest. You don't want to move it around too much because you will scratch the paint. So just slowly move it all the way around. I may already actually have a chip there. I know I can't really tell too much, but like I said, move it all the way around flush and up. This, once you get it up like so, will come down. It's supposed to slot onto the back of this piece here. It's supposed to just kind of line up with it, but mine, of course, does not. Once we get everything lined up a little better, it's supposed to click in to the back and hold, but once you maneuver it, it's actually holding right now, and it figures it's calling me a liar here, but I bet you it will come loose by the time we maneuver everything else around. Bring this piece over the top and kind of squish it all together. As you do, yeah, there we go, it came loose. So bring the head down. There is a slot right there for this underneath the chin. Click that in and kind of do a little massaging best you can. And there we have Hoodlum, aka Hot Rod, in his robot mode. Now, Hot Rod in this mode is pretty great. I really do enjoy him in this mode. His vehicle mode is very good too, but just the overall look of Hot Rod in his robot mode is very, very nice. There are issues, of course, with this because rotation and articulation is just not there really with it, and I'm assuming it's because it's an old mold, and that's the only thing I can really think of. Normally, Fans Toys is pretty on point with this kind of stuff, but like I said, being that it's an old mode, that's an old mold is what I'm really kind of getting at. So articulation here, you have the arm can go up and almost all the way around. If you kind of bend the elbow, you can get a full rotation there. Elbow rotation, and movement in and out. It's very squeaky there at the shoulder. You got to kind of get used to that. Both sides. Something with this guy, you move him too much and then everything just kind of starts wiggling around. These little shoulder pads here, nothing really clicks in here and it's just kind of loose. So something you have to be aware of. This piece here, of course, right by the neck, it doesn't peg in all that well either, and once you maneuver too much, it'll just start unpegging. If you maneuver it too much, this piece comes loose back here, and you got to kind of click it in. So again, a couple nitpicks, I guess you can say. It's really a major problem for most of it. Something else I noticed with mine, this gap here, and no matter how much I try to squeeze it back together, it just doesn't come fully flush again, and you can blame QC32 on that one. Otherwise, hands do come all the way out about there. They do have a little unsightly look to them if you make them go too far out there. They do make it so you can peg in the guns pretty well, so we'll bring in one of those as we're talking here. Bring this and peg it in. Bring his hand around, and he does hold it very nicely. It doesn't come loose at all. And if you come onto this side, you bring in his trusty little Targetmaster. This one's a little bit more difficult as you try to bring it in because of the heft of the back of this gun compared to how much clearance really isn't there above the hand. So you bring that in, bring that around, and it does stay in for the most part. It doesn't come loose or anything, so it's just a bit of trouble getting it in, but overall looks pretty decent. Continuing with articulation, have waist swivel. We have legs can come all the way out while the skirts open up to give clearance all the way out that way. About that far to the back and this far forward. We have a full front skirt there. Bring that back. This part just keeps coming loose. Hopefully that's just my copy and not everybody else's. Right here we have good knee bend, which comes all the way up, which is very nice. As well as some very tiny rotation here at the ankle, but not the best. The worst part of articulation on this guy has to be by far the head. With his head, all you get is this. You get side-to-side rotation. You get barely any up and down, which is highly, highly disappointing. You would really hope for more for that, but again, I guess it's just what it is. In this mode as well, with his head this close, we'll bring this up. You can bring down some glasses and give him that one look from the movie where he's shooting at the ship while Megatron took over. It's okay. It's not the best, but hey, it is pretty neat that they included it. It's in the Takara version as well, but it's nice that this one has it too. And for comparisons, we'll bring in Takara Hot Rod, and you can tell the size difference is there. This guy is much taller. I like the paint detail on this guy better, and just the overall size. The hands, I think if Takara's hands were on him, maybe be a little better, but still overall, much, much nicer. Here he is next to MP10 to get a good size comparison there. Magic Square's Optimus Prime, which I think these two work out pretty good together as well. And lastly, next to Ultra Magnus, which I think overall they look pretty good together. Now to get Hoodlum back into vehicle mode. So starting out, we'll go ahead and separate this backpack from the body once again. Take this piece in the back, fold this up, take these orange pieces and rotate them back in. We'll leave that up for the time being and move this all the way around to the back. To the top of the figure here, we will get the head loose here from this piece there. Rotate this up and fold it out of the way for the time being. Come to the back, get that down. These pieces here, we'll fold the elbows up to be able to make enough clearance to hopefully rotate this around and not get it in the way of anything. All the way around. There we go. And onto the arms. for here. Hands need to be straight, which then disconnect this from the bottom and from the top, which will then let you swivel this whole piece up on the joint to the top and up. Bring this little piece here forward and take the hands downwards, rotate them in just a little bit, enough to bring the hand all the way down. Lastly, take the chrome bits here where the piping is, get this little piece out, and make that clearance around there enough to bring it down and peg it in. Same for this side over here. Get the hand out and kind of straight. Bring this upwards. On this side to see it better. Bring this piece up as well to give it, hopefully, the clearance it needs to come around. Sorry for all the noise. He is kind of a floppy mess at the moment. Bring that up. Bring that up. Slide forward. Here. We're going to move that chrome again and bring it down and even. Now down for the legs, we'll go ahead and bring these pieces outwards for the seats. Down to the bottom, disconnect here, bring this piece up. For the feet, we'll fold this in, bring this down, rotate that around, and give it about as even as you can upwards. Same with this side. Fold that down, bring it down, and rotate. Fold this up for the time being. Bring the foot inwards. For where the feet are, you're going to take this whole peg right here, push it all the way in, which will then reveal the peg on this side. Same with over here. Push that all the way in and reveal that. This will then rotate around, bring it down on this hinge, and peg it in for both sides. Just like so. You can then peg these two together. This plastic doesn't feel strong enough to really give a good squeeze to it, so you may want to use your fingers to kind of pull it together. It's probably the weakest point on this guy, at least for plastic wise. Bring this down here and push it on in. Sometimes that'll come up if you don't line it up correctly, but bring that in just like so, and that should click in nicely. And of course, one closed up on me. Okay, from here we're going to take this piece from the front, fold this upwards, bring the head into the body like so. Take this little piece here, fold this upwards and down, which will then give clearance for the whole part of the car to fold down. Front of the cab here, we're going to try our best to bring this piece out. There is a hinge in there that you need to continually move this with that hinge to bring this all the way out. If you did it right, it'll line up nicely. Same with over here. Do the exact same thing on the other side. Bring it out. This is when it gets a little tricky. You have to bring, there's this little peg here in the middle where the arm is, and there is the peg piece right there, supposed to slot in right about there, not on the outside. So get that lined up and in, and then it evenly sits flush. Same with this side. Bring that around. Again, a better view where that is. That slot right here is where you need to go. So bring it in the best you can. It is not the easiest to maneuver at all. The hardest part, I think, in this whole figure is getting these arms in there. Get that inwards. And with enough messing around with it, you may get it straight finally. And it looks like it's going to be straight. We're going to get it for right now. Head came loose, so we need to get that back in there as well. Bring the arms down to the side. Now we can maneuver this piece. Remember to never transform it like this. If you transform it like this, you will cause scratches right here on the chest. Bring it flush all the way down. Rotate it around. Nice and even on the body. Don't put any pressure on it if you don't have to. And sit it flush, just like so. Back here to the back of the body. You're going to take these two slots right here and here. You're going to move right between the feet here and the shins. So you have that nice and even. Here for the arms, get these nice and straight. There are going to be, there's a peg here. There's a slot down here as well that you'll have to just kind of start to maneuver things in, and they will start to peg in as you go. Another one you need to see, there's this slot right about here. There's another peg that fits right in there. So as long as everything's even, everything should peg in like it should. Okay, so it looks like we might be almost there. And there we have Hot Rod back in his vehicle mode. Again, before I continue, remember there's a couple pegs down here and in slots in there. You just got to get it all lined up. Once you actually do the transformation, you'll see the pegs and the slots they belong to. Just follow along and visually look at where you're doing everything, and you'll be able to get it good on your first try. In conclusion, Hot Rod, aka Hoodlum from Fans Toys, is a pretty good figure overall. Really enjoy the paint on it. The articulation is a bit disappointing in some spots, especially where the head is and some where the shoulders are. I think if this figure would have came out 4 years ago when it was announced, probably people would be more happy with it, at least for articulation wise. But nowadays we're a little bit spoiled with some of the things that we have and see. So I think the engineering is a little behind its time. That is the one main thing I have to say about this. As for shelf presence, I think he's going to look great on the shelf. He's definitely going to replace my Takara Hot Rod, and he will be placed right next to the rest of the group from the movie. So stay tuned for a room tour I'm going to do pretty soon. You'll see all that on my shelf. But overall, like I said, if you want to pick this guy up, go ahead. I picked him up from the Chosen Prime. I would maybe look at some other thoughts from other people as well. Maybe not just go off of mine. There are also multiple other people out there who have picked him up and may have differing opinions than me, so feel free to check them out. But overall, if you like this video, please like, subscribe if you haven't done so. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate all the support that you give me, and stay tuned for more videos. Talk to you again soon.